Hey there, friends. Back with Next to Normal. My original plan was to do a few other things, not Next to Normal, before the next part, but I just felt so guilty I was taking a bit. So doing this one, and then Next to Normal will be every other video until it's complete, and then we'll start with whatever the next musical will be. Because now people like my musical reactions. I'm so happy. I get to talk about things I like. Not that I don't love stuff I usually talk about. I just never had any place to share my musical feelings. So we are... I actually forgot what was in Act 1. I don't know this musical backwards and forwards. I'm afraid people think I do because of how much I'm talking about it. I genuinely don't. Because I thought There's a World was the end of Act 1, but it's super not. So I don't know how long this video you're watching is, because that's in the future. I think... because I can't do all, like, the rest of the act in one. That would be a really, really long video, which I know you guys wouldn't mind, but it would be a pain in the butt to upload. I think I'm going to do through I've Been on this video, and then the next one is going to be the last two songs where I think I want to do a comparison to the original for Light in the Dark. And I know someone wanted me to do a comparison to other versions with, oh, my brain is mush. Sorry, I'm on so little sleep. I'm the One reprise, and if there's any other ones you guys want comparisons for, please let me know. But those were, I think, the big ones. Sorry, I got my hair cut and I just keep playing with it because it's shorter. So if you see me doing that, it's just because it's short and I'm not used to it because it was yesterday. All right, let's go. This is going to be depressing. But also songs I don't really think about that often with this show. I have some issues with the original versions, but let's watch and see what this one looks like. I'm genuinely curious if they take certain costuming choices from the original and put them in here. Somehow I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, in this we kind of have Gabe like fighting for his life. I forgot. And like, I think someone put it out in the comments that I thought was such a brilliant observation, that like when because I kept saying he was falling like he was weakening, but someone mentioned that it's more like, it's almost like he's regressing to like being the baby that that she lost. Can't remember if that was here or on TikTok. Someone said that. I think it was maybe in my comments. Such a brilliant. I love reading everyone's comments. I haven't sat there and responded to them yet because I have ADHD and I'm finally gonna get back on good medicine. But right now I have medicine that doesn't work very well. But my gosh, it's so cool. I love, you know, I wish I could just sit in a room with all of you guys and talk about it. I'd love to do a live stream at some point and just chat with y'all once I figure out how to do that. If anyone would be interested in me doing that, let me know. I'll just babble because I think y'all are super smart and cool. Anyway, so yeah, we've got this kind of... Again, like I said, I know that Gabe definitely in the original like didn't want her to take away his stuff, but in this, it's like he's terrified of dying. And I think that's so great because, again, I know there are people who treat Gabe like his own entity. That's fine if they want to interpret it that way. But what it is she's trying to be better. She's trying to get better. But even when that happens, when you're trying to improve, there's that little part of you that's terrified of that. Even if you know it's a positive change, to do that, to let go, of course he's going to be in there fighting her and fighting to stay with her this whole time. It totally makes sense. And I think it's really interesting in a piece like this that they can really externalize it with having him as a character standing there. So cool. Interesting they put it there.
This is good, Diana. This is a good step.
I love that he's always giving her space. I could do a whole, if I understood more about, if I was more well researched about body language. So many of them do little self-soothing gestures, and his tends to be kind of going like this, like touching his hands and things like that. Is that you can tell he wants to be reaching out to her, but he doesn't want to invade her space, so he just kind of ends up doing these little movements like this. It's like sort of a self-soothing gesture. Yeah, but he's kind of like, he'll lean down, never sounding patronizing, always just sounding supportive. Which again, just makes the show so much rougher. I liked it more when I thought Dan was kind of a jerk. And I liked it more when I felt bad for Natalie, but kind of thought she was frustrating. It's harder now when you just want all the best for all of them, but it's also a much better story that way. Oh, it's so much better. I like that. I love in pro shots where they let the camera kind of do some stuff. It's not just showing the performers. I love that little moment, put on the floor and having the camera follow the little car. Because not only does it just makes things visually different for a minute, and it's that kind of sort of almost putting us as baby Gabe would be, like focusing on the little things. You know, when you remember stuff from your childhood, it's always the most random, odd things. Like my earliest memory is holding my little sister for the first time when I was like almost 3, and I remember holding her, but I mostly remember like a Cookie Monster cup on the table. Random stuff you remember like that. That little car going by. Am I overthinking it? Probably, but like I think that's cool. No, not the little shoes. Oof, rough stuff. You shouldn't be doing this alone, but... I could be wrong. I don't think they did that in the original. I might be wrong. But I thought she was just barely looking through it. They didn't give her a moment like that. I'm sure of it. And it's rough because you're watching her and you can see like she's falling apart, but still in this moment, trying to keep it together. She kisses it as a way of saying goodbye and she's folding it. So you can see like she's not immediately falling apart. She's trying to push through it, and then, as we know, unfortunately won't be successful. But you can see how much she's trying at the beginning here. Computer, why are you freaked out? Calm down with your fan self. I hope this isn't loud on the camera.
I saw you light the ballroom with your sparkling eyes of blue, graceful as an angel's wing. I dreamed to dance with you.
Oof. Was the stage rotating for a second? It looked like it was. Which might have just been adjusting, but I like that for a minute it was turning, so it's like she was the little ballerina inside, turning. I feel like every kid had like a ballerina jewelry, like jewelry box or music box like that, except for me. I had a Pocahontas one. When Pocahontas came out, it had a little leaf in it. And eventually I had a dream to have a Phantom of the Opera one. I finally did. I'm like, I want a Phantom of the Opera one. I wanted to have the mask in it that spins, and I wanted to play Masquerade. I never got that, but I did get one. It played Music of the Night. Not quite what I wanted, but still fun. But then she's sitting there and the stars projected down, and her holding it like she's holding her baby, just kind of rocking a little bit. And you could tell like with the light, if the stage is her mind, everything is starting to shut off and shut down except for this little, and it having like this hazy lighting. She's lost in a memory and kind of becoming lost in her delusions more now that Gabe is showing up. I almost said Jack. Now that Jack's showing up.
You whispered slyly told me you would be true. We spun around 1,000 stars. I dreamed to dance with you. I know the night is dying, dear. I know the day will dawn.
Okay, let's talk about the difference here between this and the original, because this is Precious and that one creeps me out a little bit, that's probably on me. I don't know if anyone else gets creeped out by it. That's probably a me thing. But she is singing like that. She's holding the music box, and then Gabe comes out completely different than this. He comes out like a fantasy. Like, you know, at this point, nothing is realistic about him coming out. And he comes out in a white tux, in a white suit, and then they start dancing together very, very, a little too closely for my taste. There's a weird energy. I don't think that anything's going on. I'm not crazy. But it just comes off as weird. It's just weird. Everything about it's weird. Whereas I love that this is, you know, he comes in like he's coming home from school. He puts down his bag, and then she's sitting there, and the way that he looks at it, if I were to just see that moment completely out of context, what I would read into it is, kid comes home from school, his mom's going through his old stuff, and it's like, remember this music box you used to play as a kid? And he kind of smiles and looks at it like, yeah, I guess, kind of. And then they start dancing together. Like, it feels real. It feels like a snapshot from a reality where Gabe got to grow up, as opposed to this weird fantasy of Gabe's here to take you to prom or something. I don't know. It's odd. Because it just doesn't feel, nothing about it feels real. So it feels more like and I guess that works better with that Diana, who feels way more in a completely fantasy world and really kind of almost resentful of the real world, whereas this one kind of has a foot in both. But I always thought it was odd. But this is of course wonderful, and then hurting more.
The dancers may disappear, still the dance goes on. And on.
Yeah, this is what, yeah. And I keep using the word for original Gabe, a seduction. I don't mean that kind of seduction, but it is, she's being seduced into, like, ignore that stuff, come with me, come to the darkness. Whereas in this, he's clinging to her like, Mom, please help me, please don't kill me, kind of a thing. Which is what she feels like she's doing right now. And what she would imagine, this seems so much more like a projection of her guilt, but just a projection of her baby, than it does, like, you know, this weird sort of Superboy that she's built up. And I think that's such a great way of doing this. And Jack performs it so beautifully, because he can really, he's got those eyes that can just convey so much vulnerability. Which, like I said, makes me immediately want to see him do something incredibly dark. But he's just can look so, there's some actors like that. And it's not even because he's cute, which he's cute, but I mean just actors who can, Robin Williams, big Robin Williams fan. He had the ability to almost be childlike in the way that he could just completely show his heart on his sleeve and expose it all felt very raw, expose all of his emotions in a movie like Jumanji or something, where a moment will happen and you're like, oh God, and it just like gets to your heart, and there's no reason, sir, you didn't need to do this. And Jack is very good at that. I know he was in that Shadow and Bone series you guys talked about, and he's obviously an amazing performer. I'd love to see him in more plays, but I'd love to see him in films, because he's very good. I'd be super into that. And, you know, I'm sure he's pretty to look at, so I'm sure he can get cast, but come on, like, I want to see you in some serious stuff here. That'd be fantastic. Oh my gosh. Oh God.
I'll wake alone tomorrow. The dream of our dances through. But now until forever, love, I'll live to dance with you.
Oh my god. He's got, he's got a duffel bag, because that's the whole thing. It's like, he's 18 now. Isn't that the year that kids move out? So she's not imagining him like disappearing. She's imagining him moving out. Oh, is that getting to me? Oh gosh. Oh boy, I should have done this when I was sleepy, because I'm much more easy to get weepy. Yeah, none of this is in the original. She never looks like she's for a moment gonna move on in the original during this part. And I love that she's struggling, but she's still, she let go of the hug, and she's helping him adjust his bag and stuff. And I'm curious to see how There's a World goes, but oh man, this is a song I never even I kind of never liked it from the original, and that sequence always was kind of weird to me, and so I only ever watched it once, and this is unbelievable. Damn it.
And I'll die to dance with.
Oh, just looking at his hand.
There's a world I know, a place we can go where the pain will go.
You saw her eyes looked, when he looked down at his hands and looked up at her, she looked sad, but there was a strength there of like, it's okay, you can go. Like, it's not like, it's more like, you can go, it's okay, I'll be okay. And then when he starts saying There's a World, you can see her expression start to crumble, and she starts to look unsure. And it's that part of you eating away at the rest. It's that desire to escape.
Go away.
Yeah.
There's a world where the sun shines each day. There's a world out there. I'll show you just where, and in time I know you'll see.
The way he's turning her hand so her wrist is up like that. God, this is, oh my god. Maybe I should have shown both versions. No, oh god. Yeah, she's immediately into it, kind of. There's no fighting in the original. And the way that she's, like, her expression right here reminds me of, like, Veronica in Our Love Is God and Heathers. Like, she's horrified, but obviously Gabe is her, so there's a part of her that wants this, and that is that ongoing struggle, whether you have, I believe she's diagnosed with bipolar, but they mentioned something about potential psychotic episodes, schizophrenia, or whatever it is, anything, depression, anxiety. You've got that voice in your head, and it never stops, and it makes everything so hard. And that's why I think, like, maybe meds can make the voice go away. I've never had that happen. The meds that I love, that work very well, they just adjust the volume, because I've also always had the rational voice telling me, like, not everyone hates you, nobody's laughing at you, it's fine, no one's mad, it's okay, you can stop shaking. But just that other voice gets so loud and it overtakes everything. And the medicine just kind of adjusts the volume, where I can still feel that little voice, and I can see the spiral, I can see it, but I can take a step back from the spiral and not go down. And so just seeing, like, this battle between two parts of herself, and it makes it, I think, more realistic, and that's why I'm really, really loving this, and harder, because it's not like, it's not just a woman who's, it shows more of what I think the internal struggle of someone with mental illness is. Granted, I've never had, psychosis, I've never had, bipolar disorder, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've only experienced what I've experienced. But from people I've spoken to, I know people who have bipolar, or people who have BPD or things like that. It's not just someone lounging in a delusion, which I sometimes felt the original was showing you a little bit. It's a constant battle, and it hurts, and it's hard. And even when I love that they're showing even when you want to get better, just because you want to get better doesn't mean it goes away. And I think that's a great lesson to those who know people with mental illness and maybe don't experience it themselves, to not look at people who are struggling and think, why can't you just choose to get better? Make up your mind, that whole thing. It doesn't always work. Even if you've made up your mind to be better, your mind, like, I often refer to, like, there's a difference between me and my brain, because, I'll constantly, when I was off my meds for a while, because when I moved, I didn't have a psychiatrist even me, I would constantly talk to my mom and be like, she'd ask me where something was. I'm like, I don't know, unmedicated just hit it, and I'm trying to find it, and that bitch just puts things everywhere. I don't know what she does. It's what it feels like. It's the constant fight. And so just because you're willing to do it and you commit to it doesn't mean everything gets better in a day. And I worry sometimes, I think my dad's starting to figure it out, but there was a time where I think he just kind of felt like I was not trying hard enough or lazy or whatever it may have been, where it's like, I feel paralyzed. I'll blink and it's been 3 hours. And it's not like I'm doing things I'm not supposed to be doing. I'm staring at a wall. I'm disassociating, and the thing I needed to do doesn't get done, or I can't get out of bed or something. And I think this is a great way of showing that struggle, be it both having someone with mental illness see themselves in it and those without it to kind of get a look into what it's like. I'm babbling now, but I'm just, oh boy. I knew this would hurt more than the original, but I think it's not just like this is so heartbreaking and so sad. This is so powerful and so well told. Oh God. Anyway, I'm okay.
There's a world where we can be free.
And she shuts her eyes and she's giving into it.
Come with me.
Goodman, Diana.
Come with me.
Discovered unconscious at home.
There's a world where we can be free.
Multiple razor wounds to wrists and forearms, self-inflicted.
Come with me.
Saline rinse, sutures, gauze, IV antibiotics, isolated, sedated, and restrained. Damn it. ECT is indicated.
They didn't show blood in the original. They didn't show it. They didn't show that. I think it's so funny. Not funny, just fascinating that as I stated, I'm a horror fan, and I will watch the goriest of gory films. If it's been banned, if people think that it's like destroyed their life, that's the one I want to see. Like, I watch extreme stuff with buckets of blood, and that little bit of blood on the stage gave me full body chills. It just shows, that's why I think stuff like that's so interesting. Like, things that even you become desensitized to, you think if it's in the right context, it can just hit you in the face. Just seeing the little car there, my God, that was mean. And I love that the therapist just saying, damn it. He didn't say that in the old one. He just was kind of reading it very matter-of-factly. It shows that this character is a bit more, he's invested, as you would be in a patient. And Dan's about to kill me. I'm gonna sit through the next song, and then I'm gonna bounce, and we'll do the last two in the next video, because I think I'm gonna do it back to back with Light in the Dark.
Wow. They still do that?
We do, yes. It's the standard in cases like this. She has a long history of drug therapy resistance, and she's acutely suicidal. It's really our best option.
It's kind of terrifying.
It's not. The electricity involved is barely enough to light a 100-watt bulb.
Oh, well, if it's just a 100-watt bulb.
It's safer than crossing the street, and the short-term success rate is over 80%.
I don't think that's true. Clearly doesn't work crossing the street.
Sometimes patients regain just enough strength to follow through on suicidal impulses, but not enough to resist them.
That is true. If you know someone who's extremely, extremely depressed and has been chronically depressed for a long time, and suddenly out of nowhere, nothing major has changed in their life, they suddenly act like everything's great and fine, check on that person, because that often means that they are feeling a lot better all of a sudden because they know that, you know, they're gonna do something. That's not the case, obviously, if they're depressed about something and then, like, maybe, I don't know, they've been waiting to hear back from a job they get, or they've been, you know, something major happens, they, you know, something goes great in their relationship, whatever it may be. But if nothing seems to have changed in their life and suddenly they're exponentially better, there's no intervention of medicine or therapy or something, check on that person. Yeah, it's a good thing to do.
Well, that seems very messed up.
Yes. Legally, we need her consent, and hospital policy says we need yours too.
I don't think she's gonna go for
Mr.
this.
Goodman, I can administer the ECT. You can take her home in 3 weeks, or I can keep her sedated for another 48 hours, discharge her, and wait for her to try again. Go home, take the night. We'll talk to her in the morning.
This also shows psychiatrist or therapist in this case. Well, I guess he's kind of being both, because if he was doing it, then he'd be a psychiatrist. I think it shows them as being more invested than I think maybe the original did, where they were just a lot more kind of stoic, which is not that big of a deal. But again, the fact that I know that someone mentioned that they were like, they consulted with mental health professionals and things like that, showing like compassion and investment from those doctors, I think is maybe good for someone to see that, like, if you find the right doctor or the right therapist, they do care for you and you do build up a relationship. And that's wonderful. Sometimes you meet some assholes in between starting and finding the right one, but you know.
Standing in this room, well, I wonder what comes now. I know I have to help her, but hell if I know how. And all the times that I've been told the way her illness goes, the truth of it is no one really knows. And every day this act we act gets more and more absurd. And all my fears just sit inside me screaming to be heard. I know they won't though, not a single word. I was here at her side when she called, when she cried. How could she leave me on my own? Will it work, this cure? There's no way to be sure. But I'm weary to the bone, and whenever she goes flying, I keep my feet right on the ground. Oh, now I need a lift, and there's no one around.
I don't know how to unpack that yet. This could be, I think this song is more powerful with this Dan, because with, let's say, the one from the Broadway version that I've shared that I don't particularly care for, because I think he seems kind of like a toxic asshole. He seems kind of entitled the entire time and like frustrated and just like dealing with Diana, because it's almost like a sunk cost fallacy where it's like, oh, we've been here long enough and I should get a medal because I'm still here and you're crazy. Whereas we've seen how understanding he's trying to be, and we've seen how much he's trying to keep it all together for the family. So in this song, it feels less like him complaining and more like the first time he's letting out of being like, yeah, you know, I've tried to do everything for my wife, and then this moment alone where I'm not okay, I'm a little resentful because I've done everything I can think of and I've tried everything, and she'd still try to leave me like this. And I think he's allowed to feel that way. And I like that they let him feel that. And I think that, I think this song works so much better when we've seen this really kind, you know, thoughtful, compassionate Dan. It makes this moment seem so much more earned. And what the heck is Gabe doing here? So I think this is the first time we've seen Gabe without Diana. I have thoughts. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let it go a little longer.
Strolling right beside her as the black hole opens wide. Mine is just a slower suicide. Up in here.
Okay. I don't know what to think right now. Gabe's not in the original version. Gabe's not in the song at all. He's not in the song at all. I'm just like in shock right now. Huh. And this is, like I said, I think this is the first time we've seen Gabe at all without Diana. So this is now no longer Gabe, not related to Diana. This is his Gabe. This is his version of his son, his guilt, his grief. I think right now his grief. And also, you know, as he's putting away his baby's toys, a baby he's never gotten to fully grieve because he had to immediately be okay. And now this phantom of this child that he also lost and wasn't allowed to process is, I think, in a moment of weakness like this, in a moment where he's allowing himself to like be selfish and be like, yeah, look, my life is hard and sometimes it feels not fair. I think it's like he would feel, I don't think he'd ever voice it, but I don't think there's, like, I would hope in therapy he would, that he resents his son a little bit because, not in any rational way, but because this entity, not his real son, but this entity that's called his son at this point, has destroyed his family and his wife. And the fact that he's cleaning up the blood and they both have blood on their hands. They both have Diana's blood on their hands. Where they both partially are responsible or feel responsible, or whether we're meant to think it's like because Gabe feels responsible, but again, there's no Gabe, so it's Dan feels Gabe is partially responsible, and Dan feels partially responsible, so they both have blood on their hands. And the way that Gabe just looks like collapsing, falling apart, upset, is his father's basically saying, you know, his version is a slower suicide, which is always, I thought, a great line of like, I'm also slowly killing myself by doing this, and I don't know how to stop it. Because he doesn't. There's no way out. And I know what happens at the end of the play. And it's always kind of annoyed me. And I feel like at what Diana does, leaving. And I feel like by the end of this play, I'm gonna appreciate that choice a lot more. But we'll see. I feel like I'm gonna understand it a lot more. But it's also like a moment like this where he has no one and his grief is still right. His grief is right there. And still, even in this moment when he is expressing himself more honestly that we've seen him the entire play, he still can't look at Gabe. He still can't fully face it. And that's rough.
For the show, every high, every low. But it's the worst we've ever known.
And he wants to reach out to him, and this still won't look at him. He's like, maybe now you look at me.
Hurt and how, but I can't give up now. 'Cause I've never been alone. I could never be alone.
Just standing so close to him, and his hands kind of balled up like this, like making himself as small as he can. Oh God. Oh, this is gonna be sad.
Why didn't you take me with you?
Don't see a lot of you these days. This Henry, a good influence.
Like, compared to what?
Again, just, oh God. Falling apart, but quickly trying to salvage it by putting the dad mask back on to be like, is this Henry good? Like, trying to just be like, parent mode, flip the switch, and hide his tears and just, oh, you boy.
Okay, that's fair. The after effects are minimal.
Okay. We're gonna stop. I'm at about 40 minutes, and the last, I think it's 2 songs, are gonna be next time. Man. I'll be honest, I was a little bit nervous about this part of the musical because I never really cared that much for it. Those 3 songs. And I can guarantee that those performances are gonna stay in my head for quite a while. I watch a lot of stuff. Like, not as much lately because of depression, but I mean, like, in my life, I know I'll cover musicals and movies that I've seen before, and I'll say, like, oh, but I don't remember them. And I've had people not believe me. On Letterboxd, I log every film I've ever seen. I've seen over 4,000. I'm a problem. So, like, a movie or a musical or anything means a lot to me when it can stand out and last. This is gonna stand out and last. I'm not gonna forget most of this for a very long time. Alright, anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Don't be alarmed when the next video is not next to normal. The one after that will be. I'm gonna do a song reaction and the next to normal, and then go back to doing Dark Place if any of my Dark Place people are watching. It's really cool to have people watching for a specific thing. It makes me really happy. But I also want to, like, kind of make everyone happy. I have viewers. That's really fun. That's neat. I started doing this back in September just because I had just moved and didn't really have anyone to talk to, and talking to my phone was better than talking to my sister's cat. So yeah, anyway, that's fun. I'm depressed now, so I'm gonna know I'm okay. I'm actually going to the movies. I'm gonna go see Dogma because it got re-released in theaters, which is a great movie. So yeah, I will see you guys next time, which should be in a couple days. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.